Got Your Eers On is brought to you by Tactical Legion 9.
All right, everybody, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Got Your Eers On. Guido here along with Scoot.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Johnson.
Scoot, feel free to join. First two sentences. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to tug with you again.
All right. It was a tough loss. West Virginia loses to Oklahoma, a game where West Virginia led the whole game except when the clock hit all zeros in the fourth. Oklahoma wins on a field goal, 16-13. If you bet the spread for West Virginia like I did, you made some money. But other than that, it kind of stunk, guys.
Well, I predicted this loss, so I did see this coming. I'm baffled, fellas. I am baffled by the use, and I think I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. Scripted plays look great when we have to do something a little different after the first series or so. Gets a little strange for us, and I don't know why that is.
So, Johnson, I'm going to go down this path, and you and I talked a little bit about this earlier before we started the show. I'm going to go down this path where we've spent the last month talking about Jarret Doege and Garrett Green, and we want Garrett Green and we don't want Jarret Doege, or Jarret Doege's going to do better, or whatever it might be. I actually have come, this game, I think has made me, or at least makes me feel like I've come to the realization of, it may not be just Jarret Doege and Garrett Green. I think this is an offensive problem. I mean, you can't have Letty Brown only have 58 yards and expect to win a game. So this isn't just Jarret Doege. This isn't just Garrett Green. This is offensive line. This is Letty Brown. This is offensive play calling. This is a lot of things. It's not just the one thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I mean, and you started to say that earlier, and I totally get that sentiment. I also get, like, so since that game ended last night, I also get the sentiment that, hey, we were 16 and a half. What was it? 18, 16 and a half, something like
16
that.
16 and a half. It fluctuated, but
dogs, and here we are losing last second field goal to the number 4 team. Let's be happy. It wasn't as bad as we thought. Let's take some happiness out of it. And I get that argument. I get that. And I get what you're saying too, Guido. I think what I've tried to do since the game went off is like take a little bit of that. So the old, like, the highs aren't as high as you think and the lows aren't as low as you think. There's something in the middle where we land. And I think, I think I agree with that camp of people that it wasn't as bad as we thought, but I feel like when the opportunity presents itself like it did last night, you got to go after it, right? I mean, you got to just you got to grab that opportunity by the horns. And I thought, I know you're saying it's not, maybe it's more than just this conversation we've sort of encapsulated and just like completely tunnel visioned on with Doege and Green, but I think I left the game last night feeling like we just simply let Oklahoma off the hook. I think, to me, I have a hard time watching what we watched, where I was thinking of it this way earlier today. Like, if you were just talking to someone who's kind of a casual WVU fan and they're watching that game last night, I think your conversation would go something like, see when quarterback A is on the field and Oklahoma doesn't have to work that hard and they seem to figure it out a lot easier. And then see when quarterback B is on the field and they don't seem as sure of themselves and there's more room to do things. I think they'd say, yeah, well then why do they keep running quarterback A out there? And I think we would say that is what we're trying to figure out. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm not saying it's all one guy or all the other, but I think last night watching that Oklahoma Sooners defense be hesitant when Jarret Green, that would be a weird amalgamation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right. That's what it feels like, though.
When Garrett Green, yeah, maybe that we call him. It's like a Benifer or something like that, right?
Yeah, right.
When Garrett Green's on the field, I think you could see, and Herb Street was talking about it too. The Oklahoma linebackers are hesitating. Letty Brown has more room to run because you got to take a Mississippi count to figure out where's the ball. And I know we're gonna.
And if we're only gonna throw slant passes, let Garrett Green throw the slant passes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. What is Deggy doing? And I'm stealing this a bit. I put it in the show notes, but Guido, Patrick Southern, who you might follow on WVU Twitter too, he had a good kind of thread earlier today where he was saying, I think we're wondering exactly what is Deggy doing that the staff believes Garrett Green cannot do. And I think like Scoot making that comment, I've tended to gravitate to the same position. Like if we're only going to ask Jarrett Dagey to throw slants to BFW and people and stuff like that, or short screens to receivers in the flat, then I'm not convinced Garrett Green can't do that. So what is the big hold up when he brings a lot of dimension in other areas? That's where I'm at.
I think, and this is crazy conspiracy theory, but I'll throw it out there. You guys like a good conspiracy theory.
Okay.
We do.
Okay. So as you know, Neil Brown was one time the offensive coordinator, I believe, and maybe quarterbacks coach at Texas Tech.
Right.
He was, yes.
And he had a young quarterback named Seth Dagey under his charge.
Scoot, we're well aware of this.
Yes. ESPN made us aware of it over and over again last night. Right.
So here's the thing. I think personally that maybe Neil Brown had a good relationship with Seth Dagey and knows the family well and knows Seth Dagey and did well with Seth Dagey. So maybe he's thinking he's going to get the same things that he got from Seth from his younger brother, Jarrett. Now, the reason why I say this is because I coached varsity high school sports for 16 years, and I've went through a lot of coaching a lot of siblings,
sure,
older brothers, younger brothers, and a lot of times you do in your mind kind of think, hey, that's a good kid. That's a good family. His older brother played for me. His older brother could do X, Y, and Z. Surely younger brother could maybe do X, and he might not be able to do Z, but he could probably do X and Y. And you kind of, not that you subconsciously kind of compare the two, and you subconsciously kind of lump the two together. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if Neil Brown, with that relationship, because he probably had a pretty close relationship. He was quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator with Seth Dagey, that maybe he feels this same kind of bond with Jarrett, and he just wants to continue to, and then he doesn't want to hurt feelings. I don't know what the real reason is there, but
right,
I'm sure you're right. But Guido, you say your piece though, because I think you made a good point earlier. I think you should looking at the box score.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you look at I left. And I think we all did. And like you probably saw our Twitter, we put a tweet out there that said, whoever's still in the Dagey QB1 camp, please tell us why. And I think we all left the game last night thinking, well, why didn't we see more Garrett Green? Why didn't we see, but I think when you stop and you back away from the game for a second, and you look at the box score and you see that Jarrett Dagey, and granted, Scoot, I don't disagree, it's all slant routes, but Jarrett Dagey was 20 for 29. He only had 9 incompletions or throwaways. It was only for 160 yards. But then you go down, you look at Garrett Green, 3 for 4. Okay, so he completed most of his passes, but only for 19 yards because they were all slant routes or out routes. And he only ran for 15 yards. Letty Brown only ran for 58 yards. It's an offensive problem. It's not. We keep talking about these two quarterbacks, and I think that we've gotten lost in the fact that it's not that the quarterbacks are bad or good. It's that the whole offense is bad. It's the whole thing is a mess. I think,
I agree with you. If you look, and I don't know that you have the breakdown, I would love to see what did Letty do in the second half. My guess is most of his yards
were in the first half. Yep.
Came in the first half. And so I know a lot of times we've had great coaches that in all sports, WVU, where you get to halftime, we know Huggs is going to tweak it. If we're down or it's close, Huggs is going to tweak something and you're going to come out and play a little bit better. He's going to yank the chain. Guys are going to come out better in the second half. I feel like Dana Holgerson was able to do that. I feel like Rich Rod was able to do that, where at halftime, if it's close, you're going to yank the chain a little bit. I don't know what we're doing at the halftime, because come out of the second half, we're not any better.
And here's the thing, Scoot, and this is honest to goodness, offensive line is young. We all know that. They talked about it on ABC last night. I felt really bad for Zach Frazier having 2 back-to-back rough plays, rough snaps, and then, it's the only network time he got all night. It's him sitting on the bench.
I wonder how much of that second one is.
And I don't disagree with you. Like, that second one might be the fact that they're moving in and out of quarterbacks and changing of cadences, just like Herb Street was saying, and that might be true. But they should be practicing that all week. And so But with that said, that offensive line, we saw it with that false start at the 1 yard line where Letty would have just walked in for the touchdown, and then we wouldn't be talking about this, Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's your point, right? It's not like we're going to get caught up in the quarterbacks, but 3 offensive line mistakes were keys in this game. I think that's your point, right? And I think I totally agree with that, and it's a shame because that doesn't. The nation doesn't know Zach Frazier, and they don't know how, just how strong he's been. Those were, Guido, you text last night, for some reason, Zach's got the yips all of a sudden here. And it was like, what's going on? Like, we never see that. Like, what's going on here all of a sudden? So that was weird. But I think too, my point too, like when I'm saying, I think we let the Sooners off the hook. So take on that false start, just on that play, I think is a perfect example. The linebackers had come off the edge and were tackling Garrett Green. Letty's in the end zone, meanwhile, with the ball. I just think when he's in the game, and I think those packages, so in the coaching, like in the, what are we calling that? In the scripted portion of the game, I think that was a really nice game plan. I think they used Garrett Green and the RPO successful.
That first series was amazing. That first series was far and beyond the best series we've seen all season. A 9-minute
drive. I mean, that was amazing.
I mean, the first quarter, Scooty, time of possession in the first quarter, we had 11 minutes and 53 seconds. Oklahoma had 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I mean, we win the game doing that, but we didn't keep doing it.
I think even in the second half, they even showed you where when Garrett Green was in the game, he did an RPO, and the 2 linebackers watched him, and he went left, and they paused and then followed him, and I think it had to be Letty, went right, and he got a decent run. And I think that's what Jarrett Doege does not bring. Now I know I'm hung up on it, but
that's what I'm saying too. So like Guido, you're saying, and we didn't keep doing it. That's my point. I think I'm saying we let the Sooners off the hook because I'm not saying Garrett Green's the answer for every game, for the rest of the year. But I'm just saying in this game, when you saw Oklahoma's defense having a bit of an issue and confusion around that, I don't know why they didn't lean into it a bit. I'm not saying don't play Jarrett Doege the rest of the game, but I feel like we never. And I don't know if it was because of the fumble, maybe that worked against Garrett a little bit. But even after that false start that really killed that drive, let's face it, Doege then comes in and overthrows an open receiver, I think, to finish that drive.
Would you guys consider Jarrett Doege a pocket passer?
No.
I don't think he is.
And I'll tell you why, actually, if you don't mind, Scoot. Can I tell you why?
Go ahead.
Because I continue to get aggravated. And look, I started to say this last week, by the way, just as an aside. I'm starting to I don't want to be toxic to Jarrett Doege because it just feels bad. I'm going to steal Scoots. I'm sure he's a nice guy. So I hate to keep lambasting the kid, but I'm starting to get to the Voldemort, like I mentioned. I just want to say the quarterback who shall not be named almost. But I think we saw again in this game, at the very sniff of any pressure, Scoot, there was no stepping up in the pocket or anything. It was wing it at the sideline. It was panic. We had a bit of a text message on when Herbie in the ESPN broadcast stopped the play to show the 2 guys wide open in the flat he could have outletted to, but he just sort of panicked. I mean, that's the stuff that I have a hard time saying. When we're saying, well, I don't know if Garrett Green can throw the ball. Well, I don't really know if Jarrett Doege can throw the ball either, really, because I don't ever see him step up confidently and when he has time to throw confident passes. I don't see that decision making. So I would say no.
Okay. So my next question is, would you describe our offensive line as young and inexperienced?
Yes.
I would say young, yeah. I don't know about inexperienced because some of those guys have been.
Well, you've got Nestor, Gamir.
Yeah, right.
Those guys have been around for a little while. Well, my thought is, would you say that Jared Deggy is not mobile?
Yeah, I would
He's
say
not.
that.
I mean, he ran for that one run that was like probably the biggest run of his life.
Of the three quarterbacks that played yesterday, he was the least mobile of those three. We know that, right?
Okay. So to me, and if we have an offense problem and we're saying, hey, the offensive line's not super strong right now, the running game's not great, the receivers seem to be okay if we can get them the ball, but that getting them the ball seems to be an issue. I think you fix a lot of your offensive problems with a mobile quarterback who can, hey, if the offensive line's not blocking, I can run and get out of that.
Now I can feel my blood pressure raising a little bit because this conversation gets frustrated. My point is, I think you take it game by game. You've drawn up packages for Garrett Green, okay? So in this game, when it's 13-13, there's no reason that you have to have a throwing quarterback in the game. You're not trying to cover big chunks of yardage. Give it to the guy that's having success and opening up the run plays. You're chewing up clock. I don't understand why they didn't lean into that, is my point.
Well, and to Scoot's point, I'll say the other he who shall not be named, which is this is where a Rich Rodriguez style spread offense would help us out because you spread out everything. Like right now, we're still trying to run things down the middle. We're still running these slant routes. Everything's really still tight to the line of scrimmage, and you can't get with a weak offensive line, with an inexperienced offensive line, the quarterback always under pressure and not a pocket passer. This is where the benefit of Garrett Green comes in because it does allow you to spread everything out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw. And that's why Letty could get free a little bit more when Green was in.
Yeah.
The problem is, and this stems from play calling, and I didn't understand what Jared Bartlett or Jared Parker, and Neil Brown were doing, which is, okay, so you get to this third down and now you rely back on Daggy because you think he's a better passer, or you think, and Neil Brown still in the post-game press conference, Johnson still eluded all of it. He basically said in the post-game press conference that, they had, like, going in that first series, that was scripted. Like, Green coming in, Daggy coming out, that was all planned. That was 100% planned. And he said, he actually admitted in the post-game, he goes, we had planned on running the offense like this at the end of last year, going into spring practices, but Garrett Green didn't develop the way they thought he would develop, which I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if it's understanding the offense. I don't know if it's understanding the playbook. And so that's why, it's taken 3 weeks to get him out into the field like this. And that we should, as fans and as press and media, we should be expecting this kind of dual QB sort of setup for the next however long.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. In fact, I think it's exciting. But I find it hard to believe. I guess I'll just echo what you're saying. I don't understand when you toss Garrett Green out there against the number 4 team in their house and he scores a touchdown, and then every time he seems to be out there, they're having a bit of, oh shoot, we don't know what's going on here on defense. I don't know why you then don't lean into those packages that you've drawn up and explore that further. I think, Guido, is what I don't understand. I don't understand why you didn't take the opportunity when that seemed to be a positive for you and just lean into it a little bit. What's the worst that's going to happen? It starts to get figured out, and then you can certainly fall back to Daggy if you think he can complete some passes. But I don't understand why they didn't just lean into that.
Well, and I think, like you guys are saying, the bigger picture, of course, is the offensive play calling seems to be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know who actually, is it in some coaching situations where you've got co-offensive coordinators, sometimes one coach does all the red zone offense, one guy does all the other offense. I don't know if we don't really know the breakdown of who does what and who's got more say. I'm sure Neil Brown would have the ultimate final decision. I question the coaching decision to run when it was 3rd and 33 to set up a punt.
Yeah, I mean, you said that on the text machine too, Scoot, and I don't understand why you're surprised. I mean, they were obviously just like, let's get out of here, let's punt it. I mean, they weren't trying to get that 33-yard gain. I just don't understand why you bring Jarrett Daggy back. So even after that false start call, for example, so you move from the 1 to like the 6 or 7, I would have just still leaned into Green being out there. Like let that RPO work. I even really liked, one thing we didn't mention, and you guys helped me because I can't remember who he was throwing, maybe Winston Wright out in the flat, but they even had kind of drawn up a small, like if he did pull it down and then decided his lane wasn't there to run, they had an outlet for him that he completed a couple passes.
Almost like a lateral, yeah.
And I was fine with that because it gave him one more option that worked. They got positive yards off of it. I know it's really simple and maybe they don't like it because it's that simple, but to me, again, you're going into the fourth quarter, you're tied at 13. You don't need someone throwing the ball to try to get you back into a game because you got to be in passing situations. I was just really surprised they didn't lean into it more and get him more confidence and more use out of that RPO. I think it would have given the Sooners a hard time. I just continue to say I think we let the Sooners off the hook by running Jarrett Doege back out there.
Let me say this, speaking of running, poor Winston Wright.
Yeah.
I feel bad
he really
for Winston
didn't
Wright.
And I guess kudos to their special teams. They really tried to nullify him being a return factor.
That poor fellow. He probably though on most of the offense of the window dressing, as Herbie and the analysts like to call it. That poor fellow basically does a do-si-do.
He runs
all the
like
way around
10
the
miles.
quarterback, the other running back. Like he starts off on the left. He runs to the right. He runs back around Letty Brown. He comes back around to the right again. Like and then he gets nothing. Like he doesn't get the ball for that. Like give the guy the ball.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to say, too, they did a good job just kicking every kickoff through the back of the end zone. So I was really hoping he could be a factor there, too.
But no, instead he just ran around a lot.
So, guys, we've sat here for 20 minutes, and we've complained about the offense. We've talked about whatever it is the offensive problem is. We have to talk about the defense. And we have to talk about how amazing the defense is right now. And I think we all went into the season with a little trepidation about the defense and losing so many people, and this defense has really stepped up. This defense has really shown how strong they can be. And granted, I think Oklahoma has their own quarterback problems that I'm sure all the wonderful Oklahoma podcasts are talking about today, with Spencer Rattler and the whole stadium asking for the freshman backup to come in and play.
Yeah.
But the defense, I mean, Spencer Rattler still, top. He's a Heisman hopeful. He, has won at Oklahoma for years. Oklahoma's number 4 in the nation going into that game. And we did a great job of holding them to scoring basically nothing.
Yeah,
really. I mean, we really held them.
Yeah, I thought they played out of their minds, and I think Guido too. Coming in, like if you kind of go back a couple weeks and we were doing our preseason predictions of games we thought we were going to win and lose, we all picked this as a loss. But I specifically remember talking about, just like for Maryland, to be honest, I thought this game was a bad matchup for us because I had a lot of reservations about our secondary, not so much how we play defense up front, but how are our safeties and our defensive backs going to perform? And I think we keep seeing stuff. We knew Alonzo Adai, we already knew that name, but I think now we're really getting to know Jackie Matthews, Porter Jr. I thought they stepped up and played a great game against talented receivers and a mobile quarterback. I thought the defense could not have played a better game. I thought we even saw some new people like Alston. I mean, he's literally having, Oklahoma linemen hanging on him while he's sacking Spencer Rattler. I mean, I think across the board, everyone played super strong.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie Matthews is really, again, this is an example where a box score doesn't really show you. Granted, I think in the fourth quarter he whiffed on a tackle pretty bad, but for the most part, Jackie Matthews was sort of like everywhere last night, breaking up passes, had one interception that was a phenomenal, like a great fun interception to see. That's why they practice the tip drill, boys. Like that's, it was a great interception. I mean, Taj Alston, who is having a heck of a season to start off, 2 sacks last night. It was good to see Dante. I felt like Dante kind of came alive last night. He had that sack. He just started stepping it up as he got into the game too. So
Styles or Stills? How would you say his name?
Wait, so
because Herbie or Fowler called him Styles at one
did he?
point, and then he called.
I
him
didn't
Stills.
catch Fowler saying that. But I mean, and it was fun. Like, Herb Street, who everybody loves to hate, but Herb Street, was talking about how Dante is, NFL caliber, NFL pedigree, NFL caliber. You heard that a couple of times.
But I think that is lost, Guido. Like nothing fires me up more when we walk into like, the arena and we're in enemy territory and you're playing number 4 Oklahoma and the defense stiffens up and just pitches almost a shutout. That gets me so fired up. I mean, it was just a shame that they played so well and still had that outcome. I think if nothing else, though, it is a super positive for the remainder of the season. That was a huge game for them.
But on the defensive side, if you get a chance, I know you're not all like geeks like we are, but take 5 minutes of your life and listen to Josh Chandler Samato's post-game press conference that he did last night. So he did the defensive player press conference after the game last night, and it was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal on a couple of levels. Like, great player speak, great player talk, and just talking about how, like, we needed to find those 3 points. Like, the defense needed to win that game, and didn't say anything about the offensive issues. Just talked about, how they're playing hard, but they need to play better. And he had an amazing game. I mean, he had 12 total. He was on 12 tackles last night with 4 solos, 8 assists. And, the defense, Johnson, is one of those things where it's like, if we could just score 3 more points, 1 more touchdown, like, this defense is going to, because Oklahoma didn't look great last night, but I think part of Oklahoma not looking great last night was how good our defense looked.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oklahoma's one of the better offenses in the conference, and so if we could just score 1 more touchdown, we win all the games.
Yeah,
and if you get rid of the mistakes, we win the games. You get rid of 4 turnovers in the Maryland, we win the game. You get rid of
I think that's going to be the heartburn of this whole series of weeks. Is really we should be looking at a 4-0 record, really. Or at least it's not hard to make the argument to show how we could be 4-0. And I think this one, Guido, to your point, I know people don't want to hear that, but the quarterback tandem. So Scoot likes to refer to Leak and Tebow lately. I don't know that we're at Leak and Tebow, but I think the quarterback tandem did enough positive things, honestly, to win this game. It's just a shame we couldn't get points on the board. I think those key mistakes at key times of the game really shot ourselves in the foot. But at the same time, I think now, so we've kind of hashed this, now we're looking ahead to Texas Tech, and there's actually some other kind of crazy things going on around the conference. Oklahoma State puts it on a ranked Kansas State team. Texas fires up 70 points on Texas Tech. I feel like, Iowa State goes down to Baylor. I think as this team progresses, hopefully they're able to bottle this up and take the positive points of this. So, like, if I'm the defense, I have to feel like now I can play with anyone in the conference. Don't you think? And I think if we can just get some more identity on the offensive side of the ball, and I think, again, when this Garrett Green package is working, lean into it. I'm really disappointed they didn't lean into it farther this game and try to milk it for some more points. I'm hoping that they continue to do that. I like them leaving Garrett Green out there, and I hope they lean into it more. I think that's what this offense needs.
Well, Scoot, and I said last night on the text machine, I'm really looking for that Jarrett Dagey, Garrett Green on the field at the same time package. Like, I want to see what that is. That's got to be in the playbook, right?
What would you do if it was Jarrett Dagey out wide?
I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I mean, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. What if it's Jarrett Dagey handing off to Garrett Green, as a fullback,
I could see that.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And I think that we would be saying a lot of different things today if we won this game. Like, I think if you get rid of the offside on the 1 yard line, I think if you get rid of the yips from Zach, I think if you get rid of these little things that sort of really added up, I think we're saying a lot of different stuff today. I think we're talking about how great and how much of a genius Neil Brown is for mixing them up and putting Garrett Green in so much.
Well, let me just ask you this, though, because I agree with you, Guido, but what if we win the game because instead of jumping off sides at the 1, Garrett Green successfully hands that ball off to Letty. The linebackers follow Garrett. Letty rolls into the end zone for that touchdown. I think that just doesn't that up the clamoring for Garrett Green to be in the game, or what do you think? To me, I think
it probably does. You're probably right. It probably makes us start to chatter a little bit more about QB1, who's QB1 and who's not. But I think as fans, we really need to, and I kind of got the sense from the post-game press conference too, and we just need to see it in the play calling, that we need to stop thinking about who's QB1 and QB2, because I don't think there's a QB1. I don't think Jared Dagey, I don't think in the offense's mind right now, Jared Dagey's QB1. I think that they're thinking, hey, we got two quarterbacks. We're going to use them both.
Well, back to what Scoot was saying, though, not to belabor this, but I just want to circle back to, Scoot, you went back to the tie with the Dagey family and everything. I think we talked about it a little bit on the show, just a little bit last week. I wanted to bring it back up because I think Coach Brown's commitment to Dagey, it's odd that he now feels like he's like wading out into open waters, like, with continuing with this commitment. It feels like it just draws the criticism more and more his way the longer it doesn't work perfectly. So to me, I'm still a real, I know people are freaking out on social media. I'm still really a big Coach Brown fan. That hasn't changed, but I think it's to me, it's starting to become a little bit, I don't know, weird that, he's really got this commitment and he's kind of like wading out into open waters, just like, okay, if the criticism's there, I'm heading out into it because I'm committed to this guy. So I know what you mean, Guido. There's not really a QB1, but there certainly still seems to be a QB8 and QBB. Like there still seems to be a ranking order, and people don't want that. So
what you're saying is you're not like at Jenny from the WV where she's selling her season tickets already.
I'm not there. Yeah. And I don't think any of us should be. So let's therapy session here just a bit as we transition to Texas Tech. I think, I tried to say it a bit there on the jump where I don't think that, we got to not be so low on the lows and high on the highs, right? Like, let's step back a minute. Let's take a piece of that argument that we were 16 and a half point underdogs. And we had a miraculous game. We were in Norman. We lost on a last-second field goal. Oklahoma's the number, and it's not gold. Did I just say gold? Let's not do that. It's a field goal.
Field gold. I like it.
I mean, maybe it's gold. I don't know what color it is, but the crossbars are gold, right? But anyway, and we can see that there's opportunity there now for this offense to lean in to Garrett Green. I think if we get in these situations in the future, I want to see now. Like, let's go ahead and embrace, like, if it's working, let's just not keep it to the scripted parts. Let's lean into it. Let's explore that a little bit more. I would be happy with that. If I can get that, let me get that.
Well, I hear you. I hear you. Scoot. So we face Texas Tech next week. They come to Morgantown. They play at Milan Puskar Stadium, 3:30 game time on ESPN2. You picked this game as a loss. West Virginia right now is favored by Vegas at 7.5 points. The over-under is 57, so they're expecting a shootout. Bring out the guns. After what you saw Saturday night against Oklahoma, first of all, I think I'd take the under on 57.5. First of all, I'll just tell you that. Second of all, can West Virginia beat Texas Tech by a touchdown?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Last time we played Texas Tech, Boner Stabone ran all over us. And I think until we have an answer for Boner Stabone, I'm not 100% comfortable saying that it's going to be a win. I also worry that I don't want to say there's a letdown, but playing the number 4 team, losing at the last second, when a lot of people didn't think you'd even be close, there could be a little bit of a letdown from that. Now, the good thing is it is at home, but I'm still going to stick with a loss until we can beat Boner Stabone.
Johnson, what do you think?
Guido, you and I picked this as a win, and I think part of that is we were mad about this was a game that we talked about forever last season that we should have never lost. And Scoot's right. Stabone he looked like Barry Sanders against us, right? It was crazy last year. We did not have an answer for that. You also need to remember back, Scoot, this was the dropsies game, remember, for the wide receivers. We had, this is really when the clamoring of what is the deal with wide receivers dropping so many passes like came to a fever pitch. So that happened as well. I think the interesting thing, I still think this is a win, Guido. I do think with our defense, if they come out and play the way they've been playing and we get just a little bit more, just something out of the offense, we can beat that 1-score spread. What I think is interesting for this game, though, is Texas Tech is reeling a little bit right now. And I follow Viva the Matadors on Twitter. You guys probably do too, but it's kind of like their smoking musket account.
Yep.
And they pointed out like they kind of feel like this Texas Tech staff is coaching for their lives right now. After getting 70 points put on them, they said they look completely unprepared for Texas. They come into Morgantown now, and I think that could make this interesting. I'm saying yes, a win, but you might see some desperation and a little extra oomph out of the Raiders, because I feel like maybe they're trying to salvage their season right now.
Well, and I think Texas, again, and it's another team that is in a very similar situation as WVU, where they're having this quarterback sort of issue between Columbine and So, I think is his name, who is now the backup, but everybody wants to see play the younger quarterback. So it's a very similar situation at Texas Tech as well. I think that what's interesting, for me in this whole is Texas Tech. I think there's a lot of issues with their coaching staff and with the way that their coaching staff is running that team right now. And you saw it with Texas putting 70 up on them. I think defense is definitely an issue for Texas Tech right now. So I think there is that chance that West Virginia, and if they put more Garrett Green packages in, can kind of come alive and score a ton against Texas Tech.
Well, I hope so, because I will say, just to add one more thing on, we don't think of this, but Texas Tech comes in 3-1. I mean, they had this ugly game against Texas, but they beat the Fighting Holgersons earlier in the year, Stephen F. Austin, and then FIU, and they scored 38, 28, 54, and even in this losing effort against Texas, 35 points. So WVU is going to have to score some points. I mean, I think the defense can shut stuff down, but Texas Tech knows how to, even though they're not hitting on all cylinders, they know how to put points on the board. We're not going to be able to just sit in neutral on offense, Guido. It's going to have to generate some points.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens right now. That game is Saturday at Milan Puskar Stadium, 3:30 on ESPN. Deuce. The Deuce. They're on the
Deuce is loose.
The Deuce is loose. Hey, a couple of other things we want to talk about before we go to a break. One is thoughts and prayers to two people. Reese Donahue lost his father unexpectedly, or I think expectedly. He's been battling cancer, it sounded like, for a couple of years, but lost his father right around game time, actually, on Saturday, WVU game. And then also, former head coach Rich Rodriguez's son, Rhett Rodriguez, involved in apparently a really bad hit in the University of Louisiana Monroe game on Saturday, is in the ICU right now with a lung issue from that hit. So thoughts and prayers go out to both of them. So anyways, guys, it'll be interesting. I hope that we're moving forward. It's really tough right now to be in the position that we're at, having won 2 games, lost 2 games, and the 2 games we lost, we kind of gave away. We could have won both of those games. So, it's going to be an interesting week to see what happens against Texas Tech next weekend. Well, listen, let's take a break. We're going to come back with the #1 game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast. It's a little game we like to call Bluff the Fluffs. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Eers On.
Vortec Knives is a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in high quality steel, fast opening, everyday carrying knives. If you go to vortechknives.com today and use the code GYEO, you get a 25% discount on your entire order. That's Vortech, VORTEK knives.com, a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in fast opening, high quality, everyday carry knives. Vortec Knives.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Guido here along with Scoot and Johnson. Hey, and listen, don't forget, you can find us on social media. Look for us online. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Got Your Ears. You can also look for us on Facebook. Just look for Got Your Ears On. All right, it's time for the #1 game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast. There are no game shows that are better than this game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, come on.
None.
Come on.
You know what this game show doesn't have?
What's that?
What's this game show? Wait,
A sponsor. And if you'd like to
doesn't.
sponsor our game show, slide into our DMs. Reach out to us on our phone number.
Yeah. Give us a call, 304-518-GYEO. Hey, you can connect. You could be the official sponsor of the #1 game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast.
Do it.
That's right.
You could. It could be like, it could be the Tudors Biscuit World Bluff the Fluffs.
Right.
Like, that would be phenomenal, right?
That's right.
But it's not. It's not right now.
The panhandle cleaning and restoration.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Right.
They're all getting free spots. They're all getting free advertisements this week.
We'll
but
even
not
change it
next
to
week.
Fluff Bluffs if you
Fluff
want it.
Bluff. Yeah, we
We'll
will.
change it. We'll change the
We'll
name.
call it something different. Just let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, as we go right now, Johnson won last week on Big 12 trivia. He shortens the gap a little bit between him and Scoot. So Scoot still leads 10 games to 9 over Johnson right now. But neck and neck as we come down the home stretch, the final quarter of the year, we see how who will come out on top. Guys, this week, we're going back to an old one that we've done before, but with new questions. We're going to see what you guys know about some crazy team names and mascots in college sports.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Winchester, Virginia, and I was going to be really angry.
No,
You could
I
have
wouldn't
done
do that to you
That's
again.
next week.
I could have done that. I'll just do county next time. I'll do the whole Winchester County area. No. So what you guys know about some random college, mascots.
I'm solid.
and team
I am
names.
solid.
Scoot, yeah, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. I feel like this is in Scoot's wheelhouse.
Listen, you're talking to a guy that's used the restroom in 39 different institutions of higher learning.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
All right.
We need to get you to an even 40, Scoot. You need to go visit a new college.
Right.
soon.
I do need to see a new one. Yeah.
All right. As always, a correct answer is worth 5 points, and a steal is worth 10 points, and final bluff is worth 25 points. During the break, we had a complete and total random flip of the coin, and Johnson, you come out on top. You get to go first this week.
All right, let's do this.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. All right, here we go. First question is to you, Johnson. Campbell College in North Carolina, what is their mascot / team name? Is it the Campbell Soups, the Campbell Camels, the Campbell Bells, or the Campbell Cooks?
I think they are the Campbell Camels, Guido.
That's a correct answer for 5 points, Johnson. They are the Camels, and their mascot is Gaylord the Camel, in case you're wondering. That's his name.
Of course it is.
And their women's teams are called the Lady Camels, in case you didn't know that.
1 or 2 humps.
I don't know. I don't know, Scoot. All right. Congratulations, Johnson, with the
Let's
correct
move on.
answer. Moving on. And we move on. 5 points go to you right there. Scooty, this next question is to you. Division III Webster College in Missouri. Are they the Gorlocks, the Lingers, the Kilgores, or the Filbores?
Well, those all sound like strange last names. You say Gorlocks?
Gorlocks, Lingers, Kilgores, or Filbores?
Scoot, this sounds like LARP territory.
It does sound like LARPers. I am going to say in the Weber College? you're saying?
Webster.
They're definitely the Webster Kilgores.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Scoot, they are not the Kilgores. Johnson, is it the Gorlocks, the Lingers, or the Filbores?
Man, these feel like 3 bad choices. I'm going to go with the Filbers.
Sorry, that's incorrect. They are the Webster Gorlocks.
Okay.
That was a made-up creature that was voted on by the student body in 1981, and it has stuck ever since.
1981.
They don't. Yeah.
Scoot, that's a lot of Tolkien readers right there. Got together at Webster and they came up with Gorlocks. It feels like
Bad.
It's like a gargoyle with like tiger like paw prints.
Like the Eye
It's
of
really weird.
Sauron's was already taken probably, and they went with that.
Yeah, so nobody gets any points on that one there. None of you guys know your Gorlock history.
I don't.
And Johnson, this next one is back to you. A Division I school, the only Division I school in tonight's little quiz. Division I, Indiana State, where Larry Bird played basketball. Are they the Hoosiers, the Birds, the Sycamores, or the Farmers?
Oh, they should be the Birds, but they're the Sycamores.
That's correct. The Sycamores for another 5 points to take a lead over Scoot, 10-0. Scooty, not faring so well.
Yeah. Let's hear the next question, Guido. Let's hear the next
Gorlocks.
question. I want to hear the next question because I feel something is afoot here. Go ahead.
Next question is to Scoot. Scoot, this should be more up your alley. Division III New England school right here. Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts. Are they the Williams Beefaloes, the Bovines, the Cattles, or the Purple Cows?
Well, that's an interesting question you ask. Williams College is in Williams, Massachusetts. Williamstown, Massachusetts. Yes,
Correct.
That's correct. I believe it's off of Route 7 near Pittsfield, if you're familiar with the Pittsfield area.
Okay.
Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes,
They are
I
the
am.
Purple Cows, Guido. They are the Purple Cows.
That is correct. Right answer right there for Scoot. The Purple Cows of Williams
I
College.
thought you
All
were
right.
going to talk that towards your dad knowing a Reds reliever or something like that.
Rob Dibble was your dad's
Somehow
cousin's
Rob Dibble was
brother's
a purple
neighbor's
cow.
best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Also near North Adams, Massachusetts, if you're familiar with the North
All right.
Adams.
Very, very good. I'm glad you know your New England geography there, Scoot. All right, here we go. Johnson, next question is back to you. You still have a 5-point lead over Scooty, 10-5. Evergreen College in Olympia, Washington. They're an NAIA school, by the way, which I didn't even know the NAIA still existed, but they do. The Evergreen State College, are they the Pine, the Gooey Ducks, the Capitals, or the Snowy Owls?
I don't know. I like the Pine. I'm going to go with that.
Sorry, that's incorrect. They are not the Pine. Scooty, for 10 points and a steal, are they the Capitals, the Gooey Ducks, or the Snowy Owls?
Well, Gooey Duck sounds absolutely hideous and ridiculous, so it cannot be that. It's going to be the Snowy Owls.
Sorry, Scooty, that's incorrect. The Gooey Ducks is their actual mascot team. The Evergreen State College Gooey Ducks. You know what a Gooey Duck is, by the way?
No.
It's like a giant clam. It's like this. It's like a giant.
This keeps getting worse.
Ginormous.
That's.
Clam,
I thought it was.
yes.
So it's not even a type of duck.
No, it has nothing to do with ducks at all. Nope. No. It's Evergreen State College Gooey Ducks. Check it out. They got a nice website. I looked at
I
it
think
today.
they need to talk to the people at Webster and come up with a new name or something.
How tough can a gooey duck really be? It's a freaking shell with a tongue inside it.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what they are. They're the fighting Gooey
Man,
Ducks.
that guy's as tough as a gooey duck.
I bet they say that.
All right. So, guys, close one tonight, by the way. Johnson still has a 5-point lead, 10-5 over Scoot and Scooty. This last question before Final Bluffs is for you. Officially, Delta State College, Division II school in Mississippi, is known as the Statesmen, but they are more commonly referred to as the Sips, the Fighting Okra, the Fighting Catfish, or the Deltas. Delta State College in Mississippi, Division II school.
I'm going to say the Sips.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It is not the Sips. Delta State College in Mississippi, Johnson, are they the Fighting Okra, the Fighting Catfish, or the Deltas?
What do you remember? Delta, Delta, Delta. Can I help you? Help you? Help you? That's what that just made me think of. I'm going to go with the Fighting Catfish, Guido.
I'm sorry, that is also incorrect. They
It's
are
okra, isn't it?
the Fighting
Come
Okra.
on.
is what they are.
Okra
That was my
can't even
first-
fight.
That was my
It's a
first
plant.
guess. That was my first guess, and
They have a great mascot too. It's like a piece of a guy in an
Oh,
ochre
my
costume.
gosh.
He kind of looks like the Christmas tree for Stanford.
Right.
He's like, It's pretty funny. So,
He's probably
Delta
fried.
State College.
He's probably breaded and fried.
the fried fighting okras. All right, guys, it's time for Final Bluffs. You two have sucked tonight, in case you're wondering.
Thank you for that vote of confidence.
Johnson right now has a lead 10-5 over Scooty, but Final Bluff is the opportunity to win it all. 25 points on the line right here, guys, for a correct answer. As we always do, we make you guys buzz in for this last question. Scooty, what is your buzzer this week?
That's a good question. I'm going to go with Gooey Duck.
All right, Gooey Duck. All right, and Johnson, what's your buzzer for this
I'll
week?
go Gorlocks.
Gorlocks. All right, so Gorlocks and Gooey Ducks. Here we go. Final Bluff. Last question. What is the team name for the South Dakota School of Mining and Technology? Division II school, obviously in South Dakota. Are they the Geodes, the Hard Rockers, the Minerals, or the Miners?
Gooey Duck.
All right, Scooty, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the Geodes.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Johnson, for the win, is it the Hard Rockers, the Minerals, or the Miners?
I'm going to go Miners.
Sorry, that is also incorrect. You guys don't know anything about any of these schools. Johnson, you get the win anyways, 10-5. The correct answer is the Hard Rockers.
That's a good name, though. I like that.
Of South Dakota School of Mining and Technology.
I mean, Scoot, I'd rather be a Hard Rocker than a Gooey Duck.
Yes, or a mineral. I thought that was going to be the answer.
Right.
But that's just a dumb mascot.
The Hard Rockers.
There are some strange mascot nicknames. I guess not mascots, but nicknames in high school sports, of course. Polka having one of the more interesting nicknames as the Dots.
Yep.
Right, that's pretty strange. Also around our area here in East Liverpool, Ohio, birthplace of one Lou Holtz. They are the Potters.
The Potters.
Yes.
Like the Fighting Harry? Like the Fighting Harry Potters?
No, like they do something with clay.
Oh, okay.
They make clay. They make
like a clay pot.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's Scoot stalling because he now knows, Johnson, that
That's
you
right.
have tied
He
it up.
doesn't want to hear it.
10 games
That's
apiece.
right.
He doesn't want to hear it. Nope. Scoot's looking a little nervous, Scoot. I mean, Johnson coming back.
Nervous. Come on.
He's coming back. He's going to take the lead over next week unless you get your your act together.
Not nervous.
Well, listen, guys, let's take a break. Congratulations, Johnson, on the win. And we're going to come back with everybody's favorite segment, a segment we like to call I Can't Believe My Eers. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Eers On.
Tactical Legion Knives, a West Virginia owned and operated company that specializes in heavy-duty tactical knives and gear for the professional warrior, the weekend warrior, and the outdoor warrior. Our products are built tough. For who? For warriors. Hey Mountaineer fans, make sure you go on Amazon and search Tactical Legion Knives, and when you do, make sure you put in the promo code 25TOBRADIO for Top Radio. You'll get 25% off on Tactical Legion Knives.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Eers On. Guido here along with Scoot and Johnson. Hey, listen, don't forget, check out our website, gotyourearson.com. It is the place to be, right, Johnson?
That's right. We'll post the latest show in blog form with all the show notes. So if you heard something you want to check out further that we talked about, you can click on the links in the show notes. You can also click on the link to the latest show on the TuneIn link right in the website sidebar. And you can also hit the merch store link where you can find some Got Your Eers On merch, including our pullover guy shirt that we're gearing up for our next donation to the Hugs Fish Fry. So check it all out.
Yeah, check it out, gotyourearson.com. Hey, listen, much like how sometimes Neil Brown allows Garrett Green to touch a football, we let Scooty go out on the internet and search for something funny. And it's a segment we like to call I Can't Believe My Eers. What do you got for us this week, Scoot?
Okay, this topic is maybe right in Guido's wheelhouse. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about beer.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. This is Guido's wheelhouse.
It is.
I like it.
So this probably won't be a surprising topic or I guess an interesting story for Guido in the sense that he probably already knows about this, but I'm going to say that Johnson, this might be news to you.
Okay.
Okay. Samuel Adams, the beer maker, not the Patriot.
Right.
Your cousin from Boston.
They have a beer called the Utopias beer. Are you familiar with such a thing, Guido?
I am, yes. I've had it.
Each year they make a new one, I believe. Is that correct? It's like kind of like a special edition type beer. This year's happens to be 28% alcohol.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is that typically what happens, Guido? Is that they're like a...
Yeah, so it's known as like the highest alcohol content beer that there is out there. It's usually like it doesn't taste anything like beer that you would know. It tastes more like a wine.
I believe because I'm glad you said that because they this batch was made with 2,000 pounds of cherries. It has a deep, rich, malty smoothness reminiscent of a vintage port, cognac, or fine sherry. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess.
I mean, is that what, every year they're like this? This kind of wine-ish
every
cherry?
year. Yeah, they're this like wine-ish. Well, they're not always cherry, but they're usually and they're put in like wood barrels and aged. Yeah.
Okay. If you were to
Near the harbor.
Near the harbor.
so I'm going to go with Johnson because I think you would have a better feel for this. Johnson, if you're going to buy one of these beers, how much are you going to pay
for just one or like?
For one beer.
And Johnson, I'll get Scooty. I'll help you out a little bit here too. It comes like in a 16-ounce bottle, so it's like just
a little bit bigger. Yeah,
a little bit bigger than like your regular 12-ounce beer bottle. It's a 16-ounce like bottle.
Like if you were to drink one of your energy drinks.
Yeah. All right. I don't.
Actually, it's a 20. It's a 25. I just looked it up real quick. It's a 25-ounce bottle.
Okay.
Johnson.
Big boy.
So it's like double. It's like it's got getting two beers.
Yeah, it's like getting two beers.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. $35.
How about $240 a bottle?
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Sam thinks highly of this beer.
And because of its alcohol content, it's illegal in 15 states.
All right.
It comes out October 11th.
Wow.
So if you're interested in I don't know, putting down a down payment on a bottle of beer, you might want to do so before October 11th because it'll cost you $240 a bottle.
Is this something that you grab every year, Guida? Like, do you...
No, I don't. I've had it a few times because I live literally like, I don't know, half hour away from the brewery here in Boston. I've had it a few times there, for samplings and all that. It's like, it's an acquired taste. It's not something you're going to like chug, man. It's like something you're going to like take a couple sips of. And
for $240, you got to make it last.
Yeah, you got to enjoy it. You got to.
I think you treat it much like a bottle of liquor. You pour a little bit out, and then you put the cap back on, and then you know.
That makes sense.
But I mean, imagine how many 30 racks of Bud Light you could probably get for that $240.
Right.
You're probably giving the whole blue lot enough beer to drink for the game.
That's seems high priced. West Virginia, not one of those states.
How much will you pay, Scooty, for a beer? Like, you're out, you want a beer. How much you can pay for a beer? Like, what's the top? Like, what if the guy said, "Hey, this is a really good beer. You need to try it." What's the most you'd pay for that?
I would say $5.
Wow,
$5?
Come on, I'm not buying more than $5 beers.
Johnson, what would you pay for like a really high end bottle of water? While you're like, what if somebody's like, "Hey, we got this phenomenal bottle of water. This is the finest."
Came from a spring in Iceland, in one of the fjords in Iceland.
Comes in a square bottle, extra pretentious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Scoot, you pay like $5 for the Fiji. It's like $6.50 for a bottle of Fiji, but you only pay $5 for a beer.
Thawed from a glacier off of Greenland. What would you pay for that?
I mean, whenever I have if someone was like, "Hey, you got to try this beer," then I can see paying like $15-$20 for a beer. I could do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I don't know that you could get me into a $240 beer or whatever you just said, but
I don't know if I would buy a $240 beer either. There are some lines
I know we have some listeners from outside of West Virginia, but these are the states that you cannot lawfully buy or have shipped a Utopia.
Let's call this the not up in here list.
Not up in here. Ready? Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina. Sorry, Johnson, you're not getting any Utopia. Oklahoma, Oregon, South Carolina, Utah, Vermont, and West Virginia.
New Hampshire surprises me because
live free or die.
Except for your beer, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Live free or die. I mean, come on. How about Missouri? They're not showing you any Utopias.
Yeah, right.
So
the Bible Belt states don't surprise me, though. That doesn't surprise me.
Oregon surprises me, yeah.
Yeah, Oregon surprises me, yeah.
I would think Oklahoma, the Wild West. Come on.
Yeah, that surprises me a little
Have
bit.
you a Utopia.
Right.
But just kind of an interesting thing, I guess. So it's a uncharted territory with each brew, according to Jim Cook.
I mean, I guess
it's limited, like it's limited number, right? It's like limited supply.
Yeah, it's like 13,000 bottles or something. It's not that high of a number, right? It's compared to like your average. I mean, how many millions, billions of Bud Lights do they make, or even
but
Sam
I'm
Adams
thinking
lager,
for that cost, I guess it's a bit of a collector's novelty too. I mean, these are like serious beer people that are buying this.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, did you see the bottle that it comes in?
No,
It comes in it's a really fancy sort of like, it looks like a brew kettle. It's made out of copper or whatever.
Now, do people just maybe buy these and not even you drink them? Almost like a collector's item? Like
say they age them, probably.
Hello and welcome to Beer Talk. I'll be your host, Guido, and currently in the beer fridge sitting behind me, I have a couple of beers that have been aging for like 4 or 5 years.
Seriously?
And I have a couple over there.
Do you drink them later on? I mean, what?
Yeah, I'll drink them. Like, there's a brewery called Founders that makes
like an IPA, an all day.
They make a Kentucky, they make the all day IPA, but they make a thing called Kentucky Breakfast Stout. They only release it once a year, and I usually buy it, and it's a little more cost effective. It's like $24.
Well, I'll admit though, Guido, I didn't know you could really do that with beer.
Yeah,
like it doesn't
it doesn't get
bad.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point it probably does. Like, I don't think I would let it sit for like 30 years. I don't know, but
You have to keep it refrigerated all the whole time.
No, not all of them. Some of them you don't have to. You can let them be at room temperature. So, I mean, we could save this for the other podcast, Beer Talk, with Guido and Johnson and Scoot. I mean,
beer and water talk.
Wet your whistle. Wet your whistle.
Wet your whistle. It's our podcast where we talk about high-end water and beers. So. Ridiculous.
Well, thanks, Scoot. That was fun though. That was good. I like to learn a little bit.
Well, I like talking about beer.
I feel like that was educational.
I like to bring things to light.
It's better than like some of the others you brought us where people are killing themselves and poop and freezers. I mean, this is much better.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we should probably wrap it up for the week. West Virginia loses to Oklahoma in a tough one, 16-13. But we move on. We continue going upward, and we face Texas Tech at home this weekend. It's a 3:30 game on ESPN2, so definitely check it out. And don't forget, check us out. Find us online. Look for us on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us there at Got Your Ears. You can also look for us on Facebook. Just search Got Your Ears On. And we have a great website that Johnson works very hard on. It's called GotYourEarsOn.com, so definitely check it out. And we'll be back next week with another show, guys. And also, don't forget, you can hit us up. Give us a call, 304-518-GYEO. Let us know what you're thinking. Try to make us laugh. Maybe you'll be on next week's show. You never know. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week with another one. You've been listening to Got Your Ears On.